So it's like you're hurting their innermost core. So it makes it impossible to actually mention, just normal things. When you do that, this is racist. And then we can move on.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean now we're no longer friends.
No.
It just means when you say that, you are hurting me.
Yeah.
In a different way.
Yeah.
So please stop it.
Yeah.
And then we move on. We
Yeah.
continue with our life. It's okay.
Yeah.
And you will go home knowing this. And even if you're an arrogant ass, the next time you try to do that,
you'll have it in your head.
You will have it in your head.
You cannot unhear that. You've had it.
You cannot unhear it.
So either you decide to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Like I'll say it. I don't care. I'll say it. Or it will make you hold back before you say it. The openness of also wanting to listen to me and how this makes me feel is something you're not
equipped to have.
Yeah, they don't give you this right to your feelings.
Yeah. And I think just as Black people, we have to come into terms with racism. And we need this process. Also, white people need their process to come into terms with racism and how, because it's not easy to be the tater. I don't know the English word for it.
Yeah.
It's easier to be the victim than to be the perpetuator of something.
Of something, yeah.
And accepting that for yourself, it takes a lot of courage.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in once again. We promise that we'll be back with this conversation. Here we are now, and we are continuing this conversation about racism. It's a conversation we noticed that was getting too deep and too long, and that is why we broke it into two. Thank you for your comments, for your love, for your stories. We read all of them, and we appreciate you. I'm your host, Carol Brock.
And this is One Boy.
And let's continue with this conversation. The smile ends here. No.
Oh my God.
Tell us about your experiences, your racist experience. Or what things did you encounter in the beginning that were really painful? Things that got you home crying, because I cried a lot in the beginning. Heart, pain.
Yeah, I think the one thing that really hurt me is that of the baby.
Okay, yeah.
The other things, I had accepted them for myself. So when people explained things to me, I accepted it. When people explained
now you mean this
things,
thing of being seen as stupid because you come from Africa, so people are here to explain things to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I accepted that. Or when people told me, if for a Black girl, you're really beautiful.
You saw that as a compliment.
I saw it as a compliment. I was happy because obviously other Black people are ugly.
You did not reverse that. What that means in reverse.
No.
Yeah.
I felt flattered. And when people told me, for a Black person, you've learned German very quickly, I was proud of myself. So these small things at first, they did not hurt me because I did not know what was going on.
You saw them as compliments.
As compliments. And I had accepted this narrative. For me, racism started annoying me now when I started knowing what it is. This is the first time I started getting annoyed.
Angry.
I really cried about it, but there was anger. There was so much anger. Even today, Carol, I know sometimes we have conversations and you tell me
yes,
you're getting angry.
One boy, calm down.
Yeah. It makes
anger
this
thing of racism makes you angry.
Me angry. It hurts me very much, but I express it somehow with anger because I find it so unfair and I feel so powerless sometimes. So, and crying about something means admitting that you are powerless.
Yes.
Being angry about something still gives you some power.
It has power over you.
Yeah.
It still has a lot of power over you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that is something I feel like also that thing of people always telling you what to do, telling you. And for me, in the beginning, you say you had accepted that. So that means you had this narrative of I don't know much was in you. for me, it was this thing of they do things differently. They're explaining them to me because here it's different. And then at some point, I realized, no, it's not things being explained because I am new here. So when I come in here, I'm new, somebody will tell me, you go straight, the kitchen is there, explaining things because you're a new person. So it was this I came to know that later, explaining this is a toilet, this is how we use a toilet. You know, explaining something to a stupid person who is saying this thing for the first time.
Yeah, and very slowly.
And has to be explained in such a way, in such a slow way to make them understand because they don't get things very fast. That started annoying me after some time.
I'm thinking of a story.
Started annoying me.
I know.
And also the other thing of being given old clothes. Everything.
Yes.
And I was taking everything in the beginning because I thought it was, courtesy. I'm taking, and sometimes I'm taking things that I did not even want to wear, that I did not even, I was just taking because this person is so nice, it's so kind.
Yeah.
I just take.
Yeah.
And this is something I would never buy. I would never even wear. I would never even. But you're taking because you think, they're so kind. I don't want to anger them.
Yes.
But then they're taking you because you're this poor person who needs help.
Let me help you.
Now I get angry when I talk about sad things because I have to calm
and
down.
Sometimes you're even better off than them. You know, this is a strange thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Carol,
But
look at you. You own this restaurant.
Yeah.
And still someone will come here and think you need help.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is a strange thing.
And I think for me it happened for a long time, especially from family and you, or even close people, and that is I've experienced racism from outside. Like I remember the first time when I went to a supermarket I had a rucksack on, and there was a guy, coincidence, who was before me also had a rucksack, a white person. They went in, they were looking for something they didn't find. It was Norma supermarket here in Germany, in Schönberg. And then they got out. So I went in, I was looking for something I didn't get. As I'm walking out, the lady calls me and says, can I look into your bag? And I was shocked because I thought, and I asked, that guy just got out. Why didn't you? I could speak some German at that point. Why didn't you check their rucksack? Ich muss nur reingucken. I just want to.
Just look inside.
Already she was now irritated because I said something.
Yeah.
So they're just used to, you're told you open. So I opened for her. She looked just like this. I said, no, control everything.
Take your time.
I know black people are thieves. Just take your time and control everything. Here, I opened all the zips. No. It's okay. No, I told her it's not okay. Just check. You wanted to control? Control it, please. And of course, she was uneasy and all that. So that was the first time I felt this is because of my skin color.
Yeah.
And also, when you go to shops.
I know.
Immediately, there is a person standing up and a clothes shop, and they are pretending that they are arranging something. You see there were so many white people
all over.
The whole time she was there seated, but the minute you come in, they become uneasy and they are following you. They think you don't notice. They pretend they are arranging the things here the whole time, looking at you. This is it makes one feel so less.
Yeah. Especially because, you've never, like there was a time I have a nose piercing. So sometimes I go to a shop to buy them. And these things are not
Jewelry.
expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, you can buy expensive ones, but I just go normally for the ones for 12 euros. So I'm just there looking. And then I move and then I see like a shadow.
Yeah.
She also moves, the shopkeeper. And then I move again. She also moves. And at some point I stood up and I told her, do you really think I cannot afford 12 euros? Do you really think I will come here and steal a nose piercing?
For 12 euros.
For 12 euros. Do you really think
Because these things make you angry.
You get so
You
angry.
get so
And
angry.
I've heard that even from black people. There's a time I was at Douglas with my friend Maureen. Hi, Maureen. Maureen and I, we are in Douglas, and normally we buy expensive makeup. We go, we get the one that we want, because there's no point. Makeup lasts you for years, so it's okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but we want to be sure, because with our skin tone,
you have to test things
you have
fast.
to test it. So we were testing, and then a black girl comes and say, "Yeah, it would be nice if you would leave this for the customers who are going to buy."
Can you imagine that?
And I looked at her and I'm like, "So you saw us? You assume
We cannot buy.
We cannot buy, or what?" She assumed we could not buy. So leave it for the buying customers, you know.
And that coming also from a black person.
And especially from a black person. And this hurts you more.
It hurts.
It hurts you more.
Yeah.
I get a lot of that from black people. And it's more painful.
Yeah. Because you're thinking, this person should actually know and understand what that feels like, how that makes you feel as a human being. Being just because of the skin, the color of my skin, you have assumed that I have no money to buy this thing.
Yeah.
And that is also what I get a lot here. There was a time we celebrated our wedding. Now that is a story I haven't told about my second wedding, but we'll come to that.
You'll tell us that one.
In a very nice hotel. Yeah, sometime we'll do that in another episode. In a very, very nice hotel. So we also spend the night there. The night there, it was an expensive hotel. We wake up in the morning, go take breakfast. So where we are taking breakfast, I'm standing in line to go and take my breakfast. Then a white person comes and asks me, where can I sit? You know, the assumption. This person can only be working here.
Yeah.
So there were so many people on the line. I was the only black person standing on line, not even at a table somewhere.
Not even random.
Not even random. Just standing. I'm standing in line with everybody else. And then he comes direct to me and asks me, where can I sit? And I told him, I don't know. I was irritated already. I don't know. And then he looks at me in a funny way, like, how can you tell me you don't know and you're the one working here? I was so angry. These things make you so angry.
Yeah. Because there is a story that this is what I'm talking about. There is a story that you don't know. And now you are always confused and irritated.
Yeah.
And now it leads to, and I think this is what it's also important to know, what does it make us do?
Yeah.
It gets you irritated before things happen.
Yeah. You become hyper sensitive,
hyper vigilant.
Yeah.
You hear things and notice them immediately.
Yeah.
And it makes you walk, like Karami, I always walk with my earphones. Because I've moved into a place where I hear so many things. People tell me so many things, racist things. I don't want to hear that. So I already walk with my earphones. I'm listening to nothing. I just don't want to hear things that will get me into a bad mood.
Yeah,
and then I will go home,
that. Yeah.
And then I'll start working with that.
Yeah.
So just to save myself from that. So you start acting in a way, and especially the anger. Like the story I wanted to tell you, I was sitting with Maureen one day in a train. We were eating salad because we are hungry. And of course, we know you're not supposed to eat in a train, especially in Cologne. But sometimes when you're hungry, well, you just eat. And then there was a woman there who came to us and told us, you're not supposed to eat on the train. We looked at her and we continued eating. And then she told us in English, you're not supposed to eat. And because at first she had said it in German, she assumed we didn't speak German, so she explained it to us in English. We looked at her, we didn't do anything, we continued eating. Then now, and this was the strangest thing, the whole compartment there now started explaining to us which consequences we would have if we would not stop eating. And they tried in English. Someone was even trying in French. We're still not saying anything. We're just looking at them and continuing eating. We look at each other. We continue eating. And then finally, when she was done, we were like, it's 60 euros. Yeah, we can pay. And this is the time now they realize we speak German. But it's written all over. So obviously, if I've decided to break the law and I'm eating, if you tell me one, you don't even need to tell me. But if you tell me once, just leave me in peace. But they couldn't. They saw the need. It was a group of like 5 people who are now so busy with that, our business of eating on the train.
But why didn't you answer? Here is a quick one to tell you about our sponsors, TDX Media. I've been working with TDX Media for about 5 years now, and this has saved my life, literally saved my life. TDX Media has a way of helping you to optimize your office work. So I am a very chaotic person. My office was looking like you can imagine it. And then TDX Media came and they really helped me to optimize the processes, especially the processes of how I work, what should happen when, they came and advised me. They came and sorted out most of my files and all that, because I am not that. And then my website, it's beautiful because it is being maintained, it is being serviced by TDX Media. And then the CEO of the company, Christian Tiedemann, who does all that, comes to you, advises you, he talks to you, he listens to your needs, and then crafts everything according to how you need it, but adding his professionalism in everything that he does, such that at the end of it all, and he will not use anything he doesn't think is okay for the person visiting your website. So if your photos are not good enough, then he'll not put them in. And that is the level of professionalism that I need when I'm working with someone, so that they just don't do everything I tell them to do. They tell me, okay, it's your website, but it has my name on it. So he will not do anything that is not professional enough. And the other thing is event management. Guys, these guys are so organized. TDX Media is so organized. They have taken control and over. They organize our African festival, which happens every year. So I have nothing to do with it. The first year I organized it myself. I almost went crazy. And nowadays I just get calls, or when we're talking, it's a yes, no, and I have nothing to do with it. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. I love working with these people. I love the way they, present themselves in a way that is, I will talk about professionalism the whole time, because that is what they are. They are professionals. And you see that in everything they do. When they're doing consultations with you, they are very specific in everything that they're doing. You can only be satisfied when you're working with TDX Media. And I'm so glad that I have trusted us now to sponsor our podcast. And I've been working with them all this time, satisfied with their work. I'll continue working with them. So please visit their website, www.tidix.de. That's www.tideix.de. Visit them, because you'll be doing yourself a favor. Thank you so much. Why, when they told you?
This is the reaction now. My reaction to racism is like, oh, really? I don't see it as kindness.
You don't see it as somebody
I know maybe she was
trying,
being kind.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. Did you see it as a...
No. For me, once I see that, just the way I see people walking towards me, that demeanor, I already have a story in my mind. This is what you're going to be doing in a moment. So I already have my guards up and I already get annoyed. So it will take energy on your part before I lower down my guards and I realize, oh, you're just being a normal human being. It's okay. You want to ask me where to go. Okay, fine. But my first reaction, if I see someone looking at me like that, my first reaction is, let's see what they're going to say. Because this is now, I've become hyper. It's like you want to protect yourself from me. Because racism hurts you so much. It hurts you deeply. So you protect yourself immediately.
You develop this shield to protect yourself.
To protect yourself.
To protect yourself.
Yeah.
It's
and sometimes
with anger,
it shows
or
up without even
knowing.
Or even when you don't even need it.
Yeah.
And this is the danger now.
Yeah. Especially when you don't need it. I'm trying a lot to And especially, I've seen a lot here, even as a restaurant owner, people who come here and ask to talk to the boss. And I'm called from the kitchen. No, I'm called. You know, they're mostly the people who are in front here are white, the people who do service. So they come, somebody comes and says, I want to speak to the boss. So they come to the kitchen and call me. And then they look at me and say, no, I want to speak to the boss.
Yeah.
And I say, can I help you? So in the beginning, that used to hurt me a lot. I used to cry. Those are things that used to make me cry. And I would tell my husband to talk to them. And I completely avoided this front area.
Imagine
because
that.
I didn't feel like I belong there. I felt like I should remain in my kitchen. This is not my space. You know, I'm not the face of this restaurant. The face of this restaurant is white.
It's white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's what people come for here is the food that I make in the kitchen.
Yeah.
They
But
don't
not
need
for
to
your
see
face.
the black person.
Yeah.
They know the black is too, you know, it's
too
something
black.
to be avoided. Or I don't know. I don't know if I told you about this. I think I told you about this story. A guest who came here and I was going to Kenya and he wanted me to bring him something from Kenya. And he wanted openers to open bottles. And there are some nice ones sold on Masai Market where there is a black head on top and then an opener. And there are others without. So I didn't even know that because I've never bought openers, but he collects them, or he used to collect them. So he tells me, can you please buy me some of these openers? And I'll say this in German because, and then I'll translate. And he said, ich brauche diese Flaschenöffner, aber bitte nicht die mit dem Kopf. Mit Negern muss man vorsichtig sein. So that means, please bring me some openers and bring me the ones without the head because you have to be very careful when you're dealing with niggers. And I was shocked because this is somebody, and he's smiling when he's saying that. He's smiling. And I'm starting to smile because he was somebody who was coming here 2 times a week. He was a guest who was visiting here regularly. He was one of those guests.
Oh
and as he's saying that, I'm starting to smile. And then my face freezes as he says that because he's smiling as he's telling that.
So
I'm thinking, I'm waiting something nice.
Yeah.
You know, the way he's saying, I always buy these things. And I'm thinking, this is a nice story and I'm going to Kenya, I'll bring you. And then he says that. And you could see how my smile froze. And I'm looking at him. And sometimes you don't know how to react. You know, your head freezes, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him and he continues saying something, but I'm not listening to him now.
Your head is not buzzing.
No. And then he leaves. He gets out. And in that moment, I come back to myself and I think, what did this guy just tell me? He's asking me to bring something from Kenya to him. He's asking me to do him a favor.
You, a black person. Yes. But
And
with black people,
then
you have to be.
He's telling me you have to be careful with black people, with this word. I rushed out. I went to him. And I asked him.
He had already now left.
He had left. He was finished. He knew I was going to bring him what he wanted. And I asked him, what did you just say? Did you really say that to me? Me as a black person who you come to here, my restaurant. And you're telling me you have to be careful with black people. And you're sending me, you know, I had to say that again for it to even.
It's so absurd.
Yeah. And he's looking at me and said, I didn't mean it in a bad way.
That.
Yes.
No, that.
I'm not a bad person. In fact, I help Africa a lot.
And that.
And I'm looking at him thinking, I don't want to use the word asshole, but that is what I thought.
That
What
pursuit.
an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has not even registered
No.
what an impact that
Yeah.
has.
Yeah.
He's now explaining to me what good he does for Africa.
Yeah.
So he can say whatever he
Yeah.
wants.
Seeking for absolution. Yeah.
Because I have helped a lot of people in Africa. That's what he started counting.
Mm.
And I looked at him and told him, you know what? Don't you ever come back here again. Don't you ever.
Wow.
And that is for the first time I felt I had taken my power back.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had never trusted myself
Mm-hmm.
to say something.
Yeah.
To say something back.
Yeah.
It's whatever was always said didn't have that magnitude, that really blunt, telling you in the face, Black people are these monstrous human beings that you have to be careful when dealing with. And then after that, one boy, I've never shut my mouth. I've never shut my mouth when anything racist is said. Even to friends.
Yeah. I find it hard to friends.
Even to friends, I don't, because I stopped crying alone in bed. I said, I will never again.
Yeah. And that's
So
the thing. You go with it and
You're
it
the one
works
suffering.
in you for a whole week.
Yes.
You suffer with it.
Yes.
The person who said, just as you
They're
said,
gone.
they don't even notice.
They don't even
that
notice.
they did something
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
Because they have assumed that telling you this is putting you on their side. I have invited you to my
side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the oppressor inviting you to their side.
And you feel privileged.
And you are to feel privileged. You are to feel grateful. How dare you?
Yeah. When you're told
question.
you're different.
Yeah.
You're not like all the others.
Yeah. It's
So when
the
I'm
others
talking
which
about
we
this,
should-
and when I'm talking about this, I'm not talking about you.
Yeah.
I'm talking
No,
about
no,
the
no.
others.
Exactly.
So you are on my side.
Yes.
And all the others.
Yeah. And this is the mindfuck. This is the mindfuckness of racism. Because it tells you, me, I'm different, but you're not like them. So who are you? So it
Where does
ultimately
that-
takes away your identity because you cannot belong to these ones.
And you
Because the
don't
oppressor-
definitely don't belong to them.
You don't want. If you're told, "Midin Musman Fwaza Shisain," why would you want to belong to that crew?
Yeah.
You will not want that. You would want to belong to these ones who are powerful.
Naturally,
These
of
ones
course.
who are defining things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but then you're never like them. So who are you?
You're never, and they'll drop you like this.
Of course, you never also belong to
you
them.
don't
It's just
belong.
an
You don't belong.
assumption.
Yeah.
You think.
Yeah.
You think now you're on their side.
And I find it as my responsibility
Yeah.
to speak out
Yeah.
these things.
Yeah.
It's my responsibility for my children,
Yeah.
for my community, for that person who cannot speak for themselves, for me having this platform and dealing with so many white people. And sometimes you notice it is not coming from a place of hatred or
No.
privilege.
Yeah.
Even when I talk to my friends, it's coming from a place of they're used to talking to their white friends like that.
Yeah.
So there was never a black person in the presence who would react differently to that, because their white people, their white friends
Yeah.
don't react to that.
Yeah.
It's the normal way of talking.
Yeah.
So it's up to me now
Yeah.
to point it out, because if I don't tell them, they'll continue.
Yeah.
And they'll say that to the next person.
Yeah. This is privilege.
Yeah.
When
And
you don't
if
have to
they
notice
get
things.
angry because I told them that,
Yeah.
then I know what kind of people they are.
Yeah.
In the beginning, they're very, you can say that about me. I'm not a racist. I didn't say you're a racist. I just say you said something racist. So I'm not calling you a racist because, if there's one thing you can say to, it's that
You
they are
try to tell
racist.
people something you're
Ooh.
that racist.
Oh.
Don't even mention it.
No.
I think, especially in Germany, it's especially difficult to talk about racism in Germany because because of also the German history with racism,
Yeah,
the killing
yeah.
of Jews and all. There is this lack of willingness to really address racism. So when you tell someone they're being a racist, is like you are telling them they are being bad people. So it's like you're hurting their innermost core. So it makes it impossible to
have
actually
this-
mention, just normal things. When you do that, this is racist. and then we can move on.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean now we're no longer friends.
No.
It just means when you say that, you are hurting me
Yeah.
in a different way.
Yeah.
So please
Yeah.
stop it.
Yeah.
And then we move on. We
Yeah.
continue with our life. It's okay.
Yeah. It doesn't
But
mean we are enemies now.
No.
But the openness of also wanting to listen to me and how this makes me feel is something you're not
Equipped to have.
Yeah, they don't give you this right to your feelings.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So what happens is, and that is something that I've had a lot with close people, is when they say something racist and you point it out, you're put in a position of you have to say sorry for even thinking
that I could be racist.
Or say something racist.
Yeah. It's called white fragility.
And in the beginning, you feel bad about saying it, especially when it comes to family, because you don't want to, you don't want
have
problems
to ruin
in the family. You don't want to ruin the harmony in the family.
Yeah.
And it happened a lot, so many times. I remember there was a time I was feeding my daughter, and then it was some food with meat and I don't know what. I can't remember. And then somebody was saying to my daughter, you have to eat this. If your cousins in Africa got this kind of food, do you know how happy they would be? And that was the time where, I also don't want to show anger in front of my kids. I want to explain to them these things in a different way. And I said, I think they wouldn't want to eat this kind of food. They eat other different food. Different. The word different.
Yeah.
And this is something that I've dealt with a lot. But like I said, nowadays I point out everything. The smallest thing, I'll say it.
Yeah.
I'll not let you leave the room before I tell you what you said. That is how I'm dealing with this. I'll not allow you to make me have a sleepless night. I might think about it, but I'll have comfort in knowing I told you.
Yeah. And you in return, you will go home knowing this. And even if you're an arrogant ass, the next time you try to do that,
you'll have it in your head.
You will have it in your head.
You cannot unhear that. You've had it.
You cannot unhear it.
So either you decide to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Like I'll say it. I don't care. I'll say it. Or it will make you hold back before you say it.
Yeah.
The next time you see a black person, you'll not touch their hair.
No. Yes. Why would you?
Yeah.
Why would you? And I think, and because racism, what it does, like what I was saying about white fragility. There's a wonderful book by Robbie DiAngelo. If somebody's interested in
that's a good book.
It's really a good book. It really also helped me understand white people. Because I did not understand, why are they getting so angry? You've hurt me, and now I have to comfort you.
Yeah, I have to comfort you now because you're the one who's...
Because you're now the one who's hurt.
Yeah.
How does this...
Yeah.
But understanding it as a mechanism, this fragility, don't mention it. Don't shake the system. Otherwise, I will be sad. And then you now
don't want to make a white person sad. No.
So you become silent. You become...
So next time you don't say, because when I say, I make somebody sad.
Yeah. And they start crying.
Yes.
And now when I see people crying,
you get angry.
depending on the situation. I've also had a lot of these experiences with this because I also do anti-racism workshops. So when I see someone sitting there crying, my first reaction is anger. Because why are you crying?
This is something that is happening to me, not to you.
Yeah. And now today I know this is also me being codependent. Today maybe I can live with your tears. Cry if you need to cry. It's okay.
I also live with your tears, one boy. When you cry here after laughing, I live with it.
Those tears, you don't have to deal with them.
It's
Those are good tears.
Those are good tears. Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yeah, and I think just as Black people, we have to come into terms with racism. And we need this process. Also, white people need their process to come into terms with racism and how because it's not easy to be the tater. I don't know the English word for it.
Yeah.
It's easier to be the victim than to be the perpetuator of something.
Of something, yeah.
And accepting that for yourself, it takes a lot of courage. So also I'm learning now to accept this process also for white people and saying, okay, this was racist. Leave them with their grief, their anger, and then in time we can now talk about it. Or they decide we are no longer friends, and that's okay for me.
That's okay, yeah.
But I also refuse to have constant racism in my life because it messes you up. Racism is a very traumatizing experience.
Oh,
you know?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
People
yes.
have killed themselves because of racism. People die because of it. So it's a serious issue. And it really makes you have a very low self-esteem if you don't recognize it. It's you, the chef, standing behind, and the difference now, you, the chef, going to the television. Do you know how different these two worlds are? You stay in the kitchen. You are the star, but you stay in the kitchen because you think you're not supposed to be
place,
here.
Yeah. My face is not
Your face
representative
is not,
of this.
Meanwhile, it is. Meanwhile, it is. It's actually your face should be representative.
But it's how you're made to feel.
Exactly.
You're made to feel like you cannot be the face of this place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it affects all the decisions you make. It affects how much money you earn. It affects where you work. Where do you look for employment? Which people do you date? It affects everything about you. So I do think, of course, we cannot exhaust this topic of racism, but I do think it's such an important thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Especially when we are living in the diaspora or people who want to come here, creating their awareness. At some point, you will notice that you are going through racism. Because I don't think there's a start to it. I think we grow up in a racist structure. We just don't notice. I think just the awareness that at some point you will notice it. You don't have to notice it now. And if you don't notice it, I have enough Black people who tell me I don't go through racism. I'm like,
and
okay.
How do you react to that?
Okay. That's their process.
You
That's
wait for them to make their own experiences.
Yeah, because it always comes.
This is so different. I remember that time we were on holiday not long ago, and we were on the beach in Netherlands, and I saw a police car coming or on the beach somewhere, and I said, "Oh, policemen, what are they doing here?" And immediately you said, "Are they looking for Black people?"
Maybe
or have they?
People there.
Maybe there are Black people there.
Yeah.
And I was taken aback by that statement because for me, I did not immediately think when policemen are there, they're looking for Black people. And then the thing about, I told you about that when you talked about it, about my children and how I want them to see the world and feel they are not, there's a lot of differentiation, and I want them to walk in this place feeling like they are complete human beings. And I don't want to take away from that. I want them to make them conscious of how racism works and how people will try, but I don't want them to walk looking behind their shoulders because somebody is coming for them. And that is what I felt in that moment. I did not think immediately for myself because my kids were there. I just thought about them. Now, next time, when they're seated somewhere and they see police,
they will think.
And they think, oh, it's because of Black people. And I am Black. Are they coming for me? Although they have not done anything wrong. And you told me about your experience with with policemen.
Yeah.
That is how you feel when you see policemen.
Yeah. Every time. Anywhere I see a group of policemen, in my mind automatically I think there are Black people there. This is the first thing I think. I never think anything else. I never think maybe there's fire. I never think maybe they're helping someone. In fact, I never think they're helping someone. Automatically I think maybe there are Black people there. This is the first thing I think.
Is there a lot of Black people harassment by police in Cologne, in big towns?
I wouldn't say anything about harassment But whenever we went to dance, the group of policemen would stand there, regardless of if there was another party on the other side of the street.
A
Like there
white
was a
people
party
party.
called Petty Prawns. The whole of that Petty Prawns would be full of police. On the other side, there was another party. I never saw them standing there. In Düsseldorf, whenever we go, there is a huge group of police standing there. So, of course, this could be only my own, the way I see it, because I never go to white people parties. So I cannot really know if they also go there sometimes. But my experience has been every time I go to a party, I hear some music, there will be a group of many policemen standing there and policewomen, of course. And I've also had the experience myself when another time I was in a party and we were dancing and we were told to get out. And we got angry because we were telling the bouncer, you kicked us out because of racism. You kicked us out because we are black. We are going to call the police. And so, Caro, we called the police.
So why did you in that moment think the police would help you?
That was before I made that experience.
Okay.
That was before when I used to think police will help me. So we called the police. And then when the police came, they came and told us to remove everything, jackets, shoes. It was winter. We were standing there. And in fact, I am the one who was told now I had tried to steal a phone. And then I was
You were
told
the one who called the police and then it was turned around.
Yes, I was the one in trouble. After that. And we were told to not come back to that party. And 2 weeks later, I was invited to the police station. I was so scared. I thought, oh my God, they will deport me for something I didn't even do because I went to a party. And so I think this is why I get this thing of they are there, they will not help me as a person. They are going to cause trouble for someone.
So you had called them to come and help you,
yeah,
but then it was turned around.
And I'm the one who got into trouble. And they did not even listen to the story of the bouncer or anything. You know, it was totally irrelevant. You know, we were standing there in winter. It was so cold. We were shaking. And someone telling me, you tried to steal a phone. I'm like, what? What? Why? Where did you come up with this story? This is a new story. I didn't know anything about it. But it was so surreal for me. Because when I was calling the police, I assumed they would come and clear this conversation and actually take it seriously and maybe tell us, no, it was not racism and tell us to go back in and dance. No, they told us to go home. And we went home. And 2 weeks later, I went to the police. But those charges were dropped, of course, because there was no cause for the charges. But Karomi, I've never stolen anything. So the accusation I have stolen made me feel so bad. It made me feel like a bad person, you know, because I was raised to never steal anything, never abuse, and never do all these things that I assumed are bad. And now with this accusation from the authority in Germany, so you can imagine the things I was thinking. I'll be sent to German prison.
Oh my God.
So scared. Yeah. So
now I understand. Yeah, I understand.
It's my story.
Yeah.
And I think we always look at situations we always bring our story in it.
Yeah.
But I also appreciate what you say about what are we giving the young ones? Are we passing on this fear now? Are they always scared? They are now carrying their burden because they will experience other things.
They have their own burden.
Yeah.
But
we are now also forcing them to carry our burden as well, just as much as we are also carrying the burdens of the people who are taken as slaves.
Yes.
The people, the colonialism. We carry so much baggage. And it will be so nice to have our kids drop some of it and carry new ones. So once you told me that, I really thought about it. And I hope one day I will look at police and think, they're here to help someone.
They're here to help someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this doesn't mean police are bad.
No,
it just
but it's also the way I was when I was in Kenya.
Yeah.
For me, policemen were not people who were there to help any situation.
Yeah.
So that was my experience in Kenya. That is your experience in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that thing of raising black kids or half black kids in Germany, that's a topic we'll have because it's also very, very important that we talk about these things and. You know how I'm raising two wonderful kids, and and I want to give them as much, that they are confident people, that they know they have their place in this country. Because, we can talk all we want about being half-half, but they are not half-half. This is their country. This is the only country home they know.
This is their
when
home.
we go to Kenya, they are not Kenyans. Nobody will treat them like that is their home. They are visitors.
Even then, they will be told to go home.
Yeah. So the one thing, the one conversation I never participate in is when people start talking about how bad Germans are. I talk about people. I talk about this
specific
asshole.
situations.
Okay, I don't say asshole to my kids, but I talk about
Let's hope they never listen to this podcast.
I talk about this person who did this bad thing. But I don't generalize it as the Germans. The Germans do the Germans. I don't do that because my kids are German. So what am I telling them when I say that?
Taking away from them?
Am I telling them they're bad people?
That. The Germans complain. The Germans do this.
And I've separated myself from some African people who have these conversations all the time because I don't want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of constructive conversations where we talk about things that happened to me from this person, from this, but not generalizing. And the other way, I also don't like Germans talking about Africans. Africans do, Africans this, Africans this. It's not right.
It makes no sense.
So when Omboy does something, she's not representing all of us.
This is a big burden. We are always forced to carry the burden of all Africans. It's a huge burden. Who wants to carry that?
It is. But I think we have to continue this conversation at some other point.
Lord Almighty.
It's a very heated conversation that we can talk about. These are the conversations that keep us awake till 4 a.m. Because we really talk deeply about these things. And we are very passionate about these things.
And we want to know, is there a different way of thinking?
Exploring the possibilities. And also for ourselves. How do I deal with these things? How, is what I'm thinking right?
Do I need to question that? Do I need to question my assumption about the police?
Yes.
Because if I don't talk to you, this will be my assumption forever and ever. But when we have that conversation and you mention it, then the next time I think like that, that voice also will come. They will now have
they're not
different thoughts.
And
this is why we have conversations, to have one more thought, a different one.
It's a slow process. But it's an important
it is.
conversation. It's maybe you can also tell us about your experiences with racism, or what you've gone through. Even the good. And we're not talking now. We want to talk about racism. We're not talking about Germans as bad people.
No,
these are just experiences that, and it was a very general talk about what we experience. And we don't want people, because we have wonderful German friends.
Yes, we love them.
We live in this country and we associate with them. We love them. We work with them.
I've learned not to think that the world is differentiated between good people and racist. It's not.
No, it's not.
Good people can be racist. Bad people can be non-racist. Black people can treat you badly because you're black. White people can do the same. So it's not about good and bad.
Do you think black people can also be racist? Boy, your best part.
My favorite part.
Yes, it's a cold dish. It's a starter dish. So it's some mango rice, and then I marinated the green beans with some grilled tomatoes. So mine, of course, is
vegan,
plant-based, and yours, you have a smoked trout on top.
Smoked trout is fish.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This looks lovely.
After this deep, heavy conversation, let's eat something light. So enjoy, my dear.
Oh, I appreciate
mango rice.
mango rice.
I love the beans. I love
Wow.
the green beans.
I love it. How do you even get the idea of making mango rice?
Just combining things. It's such a nice cold dish.
I love that I have friends who can cook.
Thank you so much for watching, you guys. We appreciate you and we love you. So subscribe, comment, like, share with your friends, family, and loved ones. And
tell us more. Tell us more about your experience.
yeah, would love to hear that. Yeah, and just know things get better eventually. Yeah, bye bye for now.
Bye.
See you next week.